Afghanistan war in 2001 and is now spearheading bipartisan efforts to bring the troops home faster. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us. You have, and many colleagues, put out a statement about the need for us to pull our troops home from Afghanistan quickly. Explain why and what you think we've accomplished or not in that endeavor.
Absolutely. When we look at what our brave young men and women have accomplished, they have done their job. They've done it well. It's time to bring them home. We have written to the president, and we want to work with the president to make sure that the 2014 deadline is quicker. We want to see our young men and women come home on an expedited, accelerated plan, and in fact as safe and as orderly as possible. We have a letter now, nearly 100 signatures, bipartisan, Republicans and Democrats, urging the president to really consider now an expedited and accelerated withdrawal. First of all, there's no military solution in Afghanistan. Everyone knows that. The American people are way out in front of where members of Congress are. Over 70% of the American people want this over. Our troops deserve to come home, to be with their families, and we have to really address their mental health needs, and make sure that their economic security is there in terms of their jobs.
You are so right, in my opinion, on that conclusion about the need to bring our troops home from Afghanistan. It seems to me there are always three different objectives there, one attainable, the other two not. Decapitating al-Qaeda, something we could do. Defeating the Taliban, you can't do. Rebuilding their civil society, something we can't do. We've accomplished the first. Let's bring our troops home. Do you think we need a residual force in Afghanistan after we bring most of our troops home?
I think what we need to do is make sure that we help with the development of the country. Of course, women, this week we had an opportunity to meet with women from Afghanistan. We know what we need to do to ensure their rights, and we need to work with women to ensure equal opportunities for women there. So there are many things we need to do in Afghanistan. We need to provide the help with training of the forces, but we don't need a combat mission there. We need to bring our troops home. You're talking about $600 billion plus, and when you talk about deficit reduction and creating jobs in America, we can use those resources to nation build here at home.
That is exactly right. At a moment when obviously the fiscal conversation here at home is front and center, you look at what we're spending in an endeavor that is, as you say, doomed to failure. There is not a military solution, especially when you have a government there under Karzai that is as corrupt as it is. The dollars disappear into the ether. Has the White House responded yet? Are they sympathetic to what you're trying to say?
Well, I tell you, we want to work with the White House. We're just getting the letter to the White House. But I tell you, each and every year now, I put forth my amendment, the Lee Amendment, and I receive now at least 100 votes, not just one.
Right.
But it says, look, we need to bring our young men and women home in a safe and orderly fashion, and we're not going to appropriate funds for any more than a safe and orderly withdrawal. So hopefully the White House will begin to see the validity of that position and work with the military officials and develop a plan and work with us to bring our young men and women home and to help stabilize the region by a stronger diplomatic and economic effort.
As you said just a moment ago, the public has been ahead of elected officials on this. I think the public several years ago said, we don't understand the mission here. Let's bring our troops home. Let's pivot just a little bit. The fight over who the next Secretary of State should be, and you know, without weighing in Ambassador Rice, John Kerry, the two most prominent names, what is going on in John McCain's head these days when he goes after Susan Rice with such vehemence?
It's hard to know what's going on with Senator McCain. I mean, I'm shocked at some of the statements that he has made, but I do know that our ambassador, Susan Rice, is real qualified, Rhodes Scholar. She has a PhD. She's been tough in the negotiations on behalf of the United States with Iran and all of the sanctions initiatives. She's a brilliant woman. She's worked as a national security, in the national security team, within that team. She knows what she's doing. She's done her job well. She's an expert, and she deserves a fair hearing. And that's what we're saying. Do not taint her. Do not make it appear that she has not done her job, when in fact what she was doing was her job, and she's done it quite well. And she needs, if the president wants to put her name forward, she needs a fair hearing, and she is such a well-qualified woman that I hope, quite frankly, that the president does put her name forward.
And if ever there was a case where the messenger was being shot, and she was the messenger, the whole fight over whether or not her talking points, and there were talking points at that moment about the Benghazi tragedy, she didn't write them. The CIA did. Others in the White House did. So it's a very bizarre dynamic there that Senator McCain was going after her with such vehemence. Some people thought there was maybe a personal feud of some sort. Hard to see.
It's hard to imagine, but Senator McCain should be praising her for doing her job well. And from really, especially when you have national security crisis, you want most of your officials, you want everyone to be on the same page. She was on the same page, and so he should be saluting her, applauding her, and really not providing providing these kind of horrible statements about her, because she is I've known her for many years, and she is a very tough negotiator on behalf of the United States. She represents the United States well, and she is such a brilliant woman, and that's what I think Senator McCain may or may not be able to understand.
Switching gears just quickly, only a moment or two remaining. The Republican Party and the Tea Party got thumped in the November elections. Have they learned anything? Is there a lesson? You're there in the House, you see your colleagues, some of whom, I know you try to get along well with everybody at a personal level, but intellectually, what did they take away from this November's outcome?
Well, I think we're seeing this during these negotiations now. I'm not sure the Tea Party Republicans quite get what the message was, but I think there are many moderate Republicans who really understand the fact that what the president put forth and what the American people voted for is that the very rich, the millionaires and billionaires, need to pay their fair share, and we need to end the tax cuts for these individuals who really who really don't need that, and who are willing to allow these tax cuts. And when you talk about middle-income people, low-income people, the poor, we cannot allow the most vulnerable, our senior citizens, to pay for these tax cuts for the very wealthy. That was the message of the campaign, and I think that there's some Republicans who really understand that message.
Can John Boehner harness the Tea Party? You know, the past 2 years, many of us thought, was really just a battle between John Boehner, who wanted to move towards the middle, and the far right that was keeping him tethered to positions that were not sustainable. Is John Boehner's hand stronger now after November?
Well, I tell you, his hand should be stronger, and he should be a stronger leader, because he should be able to bring forward members of his party to get enough votes to make sure that these Bush tax cuts for the very wealthy, for the 2%, the millionaires and billionaires end. So he should be able to do that. You know, he leads their party, he leads their caucus, and he should be able to make the argument of why this is best for the country.
I certainly hope he does. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us.